They laughed when I told them I couldn't afford college. My own family smirked as if my struggles were nothing but a joke. While my cousins proudly walked into their universities with financial support, I stood outside the system, feeling small and humiliated. I was labeled the failure, the one destined to never amount to anything. They thought I'd spend my life struggling to make ends meet. But what they didn't know was that every laugh, every insult, and every dismissive glance fueled a determination inside me. My family wasn't wealthy, but when it came to choosing favorites, the truth was painfully obvious. My parents bent over backward to help my siblings and cousins with their college tuition, textbooks, and rent. Yet when I asked for help, they brushed me off. "You should be independent," they said. "Don't expect us to cover your laziness." I wasn't lazy. I had grades good enough for scholarships, but they didn't cover everything, and I still needed support. Instead, I was left stranded. To make it worse, my uncles and aunts openly laughed at family gatherings, calling me the one who'd never escape minimum wage. That humiliation was seared into my memory. While others packed dorm rooms, I packed a work apron. My first job was at a fast food chain, where I worked double shifts just to afford rent for a tiny studio apartment. The grease burns, the late-night exhaustion, the smell of fries embedded in my clothes, it all felt like punishment. Yet, I kept going. I saved every cent I could, often skipping meals just to put money aside. There were nights I sat in the dark, wondering if my family was right, maybe I was destined to struggle forever. But another voice inside whispered, "This is temporary. One day, you'll rise." Those words kept me moving. The turning point came when I stumbled across free online courses in coding. I didn't need tuition, I just needed time, discipline, and determination. So, I spent nights teaching myself programming after grueling work shifts. While my body was exhausted, my mind came alive. It wasn't easy. I failed countless times. I'd stare at error messages for hours, tempted to quit. But something about proving my family wrong kept me anchored. After months of persistence, I landed my first freelance project, designing a simple website. The pay wasn't much, but it was proof that my skills had value. From there, word spread. Clients recommended me, and soon, I was juggling multiple projects. I finally quit fast food and dove headfirst into tech. That was the moment I knew my life wouldn't be defined by their laughter anymore. Freelancing turned into steady work, and steady work turned into something bigger. I registered my own small business, offering web development and digital solutions. For the first time, I was my own boss. The money started flowing, slow at first, then faster. While my cousins complained about student debt and struggling to find jobs in their fields, I was buying my first car outright with cash I earned. Irony wasn't lost on me. The climb wasn't easy. There were months when clients disappeared without paying, projects failed, or tech trends shifted overnight. But I adapted, learned, and kept pushing. Eventually, I built a team, expanded services, and watched as my yearly income surpassed what my entire family had combined. The failure they once mocked was now thriving quietly in the background. Years rolled by, and karma had its own way of resurfacing. My family, the same people who once laughed at me, started struggling. My parents faced overwhelming medical bills. My uncles were drowning in credit card debt. Some of my cousins, despite their expensive degrees, were unemployed or underpaid. Suddenly, family gatherings didn't feel so loud anymore. Whispers of financial problems filled the air. Everyone who had once mocked me now carried heavy burdens. Meanwhile, I remained silent. I never bragged about my success, never flaunted my wealth. I kept building in the shadows, waiting for the right moment. That moment came sooner than expected. One winter, I received a call from my mother. Their electricity was about to be cut off because they couldn't pay. Without hesitation, I transferred enough money to cover the bill. A week later, my uncle's mortgage payment was short. Again, I stepped in. One by one, I quietly handled their expenses, medical bills, car repairs, overdue loans. Every transaction was silent, without a word from me. They had no idea where the money came from at first. When they eventually learned it was me, their faces shifted from shock to shame. Some cried. Some tried to apologize. But I didn't need their apologies anymore. I didn't say, "I told you so." I didn't gloat. I simply let my actions speak. That silence was the loudest revenge I could ever give. Looking back, I realized the laughter I endured wasn't just cruelty, it was fuel. Every smirk, every insult, every dismissal pushed me harder. If they had supported me, maybe I wouldn't have fought so fiercely for independence. Maybe I wouldn't have discovered resilience, resourcefulness, and the drive that shaped my success. Paying their bills wasn't about revenge as much as it was about closure. I wanted to prove that I wasn't the failure they painted me to be. I wanted to show that success can be quiet, humble, and deeply powerful. And most importantly, I wanted them to know that the one they laughed at became the one they depended on. They say success is the best revenge, but I think silence is even better. I never had to rub it in their faces or remind them of their cruelty. My actions did the talking. In the end, the family that once mocked me had no choice but to rely on me. And while I could have held grudges, I chose to simply let my success shine through. Sometimes, the sweetest justice isn't loud, it's the quiet reminder that you became everything they swore you couldn't.